You ever come across something so old it feels totally new? Well, that's the Kural. It's a collection of 1,330 short poems from ancient southern India, all about ethics, politics, and love. And here's the thing. For 2,000 years, it stayed incredibly, almost weirdly relevant. Okay, let's dive into this puzzle.
I mean, seriously, how does a text written on palm leaves thousands of years ago speak so directly to us in our digital world? It doesn't just offer you some nice wisdom, it delivers it with this authority. It feels less like a poem and more like a command. Well, the answer is just fascinating. You see, the Kural has survived and thrived because it wasn't just written, it was engineered. Its timelessness isn't some happy philosophical accident. It's the direct result of a very deliberate, systematic design. So try to think of it less like a book and more like a piece of software for humanity. To really understand this system, we've got to start at the bottom layer, the hardware. This is the poem's physical structure, the non-negotiable set of rules that dictates its shape and its sound.
The whole thing is built on a super strict poetic meter called the Kural Algorithm. Every single couplet has to follow this one rule: 4 metrical units, or feet, in the first line, and 3 in the second. This rigid 4+3 structure is a tough constraint, and it forces the writer to be incredibly efficient. You have to pack the maximum amount of meaning into the absolute minimum space. There's just no room for a single wasted word.
And what's really wild is how these rules work just like a computer's compiler. It's all built from the ground up. The smallest unit is the asai, the syllable. Think of that as our bit. A few of those combine into a seer, a metrical foot. That's our byte. But the real magic is in the thalai, which is like a binding protocol that dictates exactly how one foot can connect to the next. It's a strict lock-and-key system.
So what do you get when you run that strict protocol? You get a unique sound. The rules generate a rhythm that doesn't really flow or sway like a story. It marches. This creates this acoustic feeling of authority, of something solid and unchangeable. It's literally the sound of a law being stated.
Think about it in musical terms, right? A smooth, connected legato sound, that's for telling emotional, persuasive stories. But the Kural's meter, it produces a staccato effect, detached, distinct, sharp. That's the sound of a command, not a conversation. The form itself is telling you, listen up, this is a declaration. Okay, let's move up to the next layer. If the meter is the hardware, then the language itself, the syntax, the semantics, that's the software running on top of it. This is the source code, and believe me, it is optimized for maximum impact. The Tamil language is just incredibly efficient. It's what's called an agglutinative language, which means you can stack suffixes onto a root word to create really complex meanings. Just check this out, the word innesitarai. In English, that's a whole clause. Those who have done evil things. 6 words become 1. This is linguistic compression, and it's what allows the poet to pack these dense, logical statements into that tiny 7-foot frame.
The code also has these brilliant features to make it timeless. For instance, it often leaves out the verb to be. So a statement like virtue is good becomes simply virtue good. See the difference? One is a temporary observation, the other feels like an eternal, unchanging truth. The logic is built right in too. Instead of a separate word for if, the condition is baked into the verb itself, making the link between cause and effect feel absolute.
But maybe the most brilliant piece of engineering in this whole thing is its use of abstraction. In programming, abstraction means hiding all the messy reality behind a simple interface. Well, the Kural gets its universal appeal not by including everything, but by systematically excluding very specific details.
Just think about what's missing. You'd expect a text from this time to be full of praise for specific kings, right? The great Cholas or Pandyas. Well, the number of them mentioned by name is 0.
Okay, how about specific gods from any particular religion? Nope, that's also 0. The text talks about a divine principle, sure, but it never, ever gives it a sectarian name.
And what about specific places? Famous cities like Madurai or important rivers like the Kaveri? Again, you guessed it, 0. The entire text is stripped of any temporary, local context.
So here's the crucial part. By taking out all those specifics, the text becomes universal template. The king in the poem becomes any leader. The citizen becomes any person. You, the reader, provide your own context, which allows this ancient logic to apply directly to your life, right here, right now. It's totally platform independent.
So we've got rigid hardware and some seriously optimized software. What's the final output of this incredible system?
Well, it's a set of ethical algorithms designed not for one culture, not for one time period, but for all of humanity.
And here's how it all fits together in one beautiful system. The Kural Venba meter, that's your hardware spec. The assertive staccato sound, that's the user interface. The dense syntax is a form of data compression. And leaving out all the proper nouns, that's just brilliant variable abstraction. It's a complete system architecture.
And if you thought that was it, get this. The system even has its own built-in error correction. You see, literary devices like alliteration and rhyme weren't just for decoration. They act like checksums in data transmission. If a word was changed or forgotten over centuries of being passed down orally, the rhyme would break, signaling an error. It was literally designed to be resilient.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the conclusion is just inescapable. The Through Kural isn't just a great work of philosophy, it is a resilient, platform-independent, ethical operating system engineered to run on the human mind for millennia.
And that leaves us with one final and really important question. In an age where we are desperately trying to code ethics into our own technology, into things like AI, what can we learn from this 2,000-year-old algorithm for virtue? What can it teach us today?